Hi everybody, MayorBK here with an exciting announcement this afternoon from Paradox and Colossal Order on continuing the City Skylines franchise, now turning 8 years old this week, and continuing along with the announcement and trailer of Cities Skylines II coming out in the calendar year 2023. I'm very excited. I've been going through this trailer, combing through it for evidence and clues into the gameplay and some of the elements, and also some of the things that I hope are in Cities Skylines 2. So without further ado, let's go in and start the trailer. Now that opening scene, I think, gives a lot of clues into some elements into this game. One, the root system. You follow the plant up through the root system. There's a shot in there that shows the pipework and electrical lines underground. And that really indicates that there's going to be continued utility management with managing your city's water, sewer, power, possibly having above ground and below ground power lines and the ability to run those between your city and districts and things like that. Coming up through the earth and then into this landscape scene here, I think that gives some specific clues into environmental management being a pretty key part of your Cities Skylines 2 experience. Managing water resources, non-renewable resources, managing your land, proper terraforming, water retention, water runoff, those type of things. We'll get into it here later in the trailer. There's some parts, though, that I do think in this trailer that may be representative of gameplay. One of the things I do think is in this scene is your environment is going to be extra important compared to Cities Skylines 1. The environment helps set your city in a specific location, have a history, and really makes it unique compared to other cities you may be building. Right now in Cities Skylines 1, you can set the biome, whether it's a temperate, a tropical, or a winter map, things like that. And the modding community has really helped make Cities Skylines 1 more diverse as far as your settings, with road networks, American versus European, things like that. Here, I think you're going to be able to pick your city based on locations around the world, and not specific locations, but specific regions or biomes, and that's going to help really define your city. Here showing an American Southwest desert landscape with the cacti, the scrub brush, the rocky hillside, and then kind of a rural Route 66 style road leading into your city. I'll pause here on that second scene with the road signs, American-style road signs, the U.S. interstate system signs. That indicates that players are going to be able to select specific regions and have road networks that match that environment and that scene. You can also hear it in the fire engine. The siren that drives by on this highway has the American-style siren compared to the European siren systems, things like that. And this scene here gives some indication into some of the character that you're going to be able to have in your city with the grungy, the gritty side of the neighborhood. This is a specific shot here. While not specific gameplay, I think it's indicating some style choices. And the style of the building, whether it's an older historic building, a bit of a rundown building. You can see the street on the left has cars parked on it. It's a very simple sidewalk versus the street on the right with a more modern office building complex, has benches and trees planted and bollards. It's just a more manicured streetscape compared to the grittier, grungier neighborhood on the left. And I think that indicates even more detail like we see in the district themes with Cities Skylines 1. That district theme, whether it's a business and office park or whether it's a working class neighborhood, is going to go all the way down to the street level and really help define parts of your city, towns and suburbs and exurbs within your region, and really help add character and life to your city that is a little bit missing in Cities Skylines 1. Elements are going to be a big part of Cities Skylines 2 with rain, snow, seasons, and you can see in this scene how it changes. Of course, I gotta pause here. Seagulls are back in the game. Some of this may be more representative of actual gameplay. This scene to me looks like it's a little more game-like, possibly using assets that are going to be in the game. This to me looks like it's going a lot more detailed. A relay dynamic sky with dynamic weather, dynamic clouds, shifting with snow and seasons. This scene here too, that shifts between winter and summer. I think again here we see some game assets with the city in the background and the buildings and the detail and textures, as well as maybe the sky. It's obviously sped up, but the details of the clouds. Go back real quick to this park scene. It looks like the trees may have different textures between fall and summer and winter. And then also, this indicates, I think, that there are a lot of elements from the Park Life DLC that make their way to City Skylines 2 with the park paths, different modular parts of building a park, like the playground you see in this scene, as well as like a lake house, things like that. And again, you see that in real cities too. Not every park is a 4x4 square. Yes, you do have that in a grid city, but you also have parks that follow the landscape, follow the elevation changes, things like riverside parks. I'm really excited that that element looks to be, again, in City Skylines 2 from that Park Life DLC. My hope, too, for this dynamic weather and seasons changing is that your city changes between the seasons as well. So more park life in the summer and spring and fall, and then less park life in the wintertime, and having to cater to your citizens between the different seasons. So having possibly here with the dynamic seasons is you're going to have to add recreational elements, say a rec center or a bowling alley or an ice rink that's inside or that's winter appropriate, and then also have aspects that are summer appropriate, because not everybody's going to be tanning on a beach when it's 20 degrees in the wintertime, but you still want, just like a real life city, to have recreational aspects, and I'm really excited about that possibility as well. Now this scene, I think, has some really key elements to it. Obviously, I don't think we're going to be able to fly through buildings, but the ability for the perspective to go from low to high and then back to low is a really exciting element that you're going to be able to, as a player, get down to the street level and see your city from street level. It adds a grandeur. It adds that feeling that you're in a city. Now, this scene here, I think, is really interesting. Yes, you have a new building going up, and I'm really excited. I hope those building animations with the cranes and the structure are part of the actual gameplay. But this part of the city has some interesting things. We see new glass high-rises, but we also see some of those historic buildings, some of those low and mid-rise buildings, mostly on the left. It's, I think, a cool aspect to keep those. And you see cities remodeling, reimagining their warehouse districts, taking historic buildings, reimagining their purposes, and adding loft and office space. I'm hoping that City Skylines 2 will have some of that, where you don't just bulldoze a whole block and put up a new building, but you can work within the framework that your city has history and has growth through time, possibly a timeline. You have access to certain high-rise and mid-rise buildings first, brick architecture first, and then glass and concrete and steel as you grow your city. A timeline-specific build that you can then develop into historic districts and things like that going forward as your city grows. Planes and airports, and we definitely saw the shots of the seaports are going to be a big part of it. This scene here, and you can see it in the highway scene too, the bridge, I think that's going to be another big aspect of customizing your city. Is on the left here, coming into the shot, is an older style, suspension style bridge. And then obviously front and center there, you have a modern bridge. The ability for the player to customize those bridge assets, to pick bridges that match where they are in the history of their city, possibly have assets and bridge designs that are unlocked through that timeline of a city. That would be exciting in the build process. And then this closing shot just really comes into the perspective of the size of your city. I don't think this is going to be a 25 tile kind of build. I think we're looking at 81 tiles plus in that size, where you can build not just a specific city, but a megalopolis, a city and suburbs. And you kind of have hints of that. If you look off to the left on the mountains, you can see there's low-rise development. There's suburban development out past those high-rise buildings. You can also see there's a difference in the buildings. There's the more, Empire State Building like designs, and then you get into kind of the central business district has those modern skyscrapers that are 100 stories plus. And then you have parks and recreation in that island. You can see the different bridges and designs, possibly ferries. And then going out into the different cities, you can kind of see there's very similar to a real life city. There's outer ring cities. There's other non-central business districts. There's industrial areas. There's, skyscrapers out in the distance that make you think that there's suburbs and satellite cities that are out there as well. So comment down below what some of your wish list items are. And it's coming out in 2023, so not much longer. Stay tuned to this channel. We're going to have plenty more content as we get more details in City Skylines 2, but I'm really excited to bring an upcoming Let's Play of a modded city coming up later this week, and that'll help get us ready for City Skylines 2, certainly as we have more news and hopefully soon some gameplay of City Skylines 2, we can break that down as well. But I'm very excited. It looks like Colossal Order and Paradox listened to quite a bit of the City Skylines community over the years, and they've been good about that from the start. That gives me hope that City Skylines 2 is going to have a lot of the elements of making a realistic city that may have missed in the base version of the game, unmodded version of City Skylines 1.